Joining us now in the studio from the Mississippi National Guard Child and Youth Program, we've got Michela Haggerty. Said that right?
That's it.
Awesome. And Madison Smith. She's the Child and Youth Program Specialist. So April is the month of the military child.
It is.
It is. And so tell us about that, what that means, and you guys' involvement in that.
So obviously, I'm the Child and Youth Program Coordinator for the National Guard. So programming for dependent youth or children, we do school-age kids. So anything from 5 to 18 is kind of what we do. And April is actually the month we get to celebrate them. They make a lot of sacrifices for their parents to serve, and so it's just a month that we get to show our appreciation, do some fun things with them, and just kind of get the word out. This year, actually, the governor signed a proclamation, so it's the first time we've had that happen.
Okay.
It's a national month, but he declared it in the state of Mississippi as well, so we appreciate just knowing, there's 20,000 children in Mississippi that have been affected by deployment. So
28,000.
Over
Wow.
20. So just showing them that their sacrifices do not go unnoticed is kind of what we do.
And there's a theme to this year, right?
Madison, you want to talk about the theme?
Yeah, so the theme this year was You Are Everything, and so that was just kind of the national theme, this past year with the pandemic and everything. That just added a whole nother set of challenges for the daily basis of their lives, and so we just really wanted to make this year super special for them when we advocate and recognize this month of the military child.
Yeah. It's such a great point because we often, of course, think about those who are deployed and the members of the armed forces themselves and the sacrifices they make and being away from their families, but it's really hard on the family as well, and that's what this is intended to highlight. Is that true?
It is. I'm a military spouse, so looking at it from a parent point of view is very different. We have a really cool vibe going because Madison was a military kid, so she brings that aspect to our program. So looking at it from a parent's point of view and just trying to we learn so much from these kids. We have a youth council of 13 kids across the state from every branch. There's some that are retired, some Navy, some Air Force, and they kind of just help us kind of see what their needs are, how we can advocate for them, and what that looks like for them. And they've really opened our eyes, especially this year. We have some really smart children who have been completely open and honest with us about what it looks like to be a military kid, what their challenges are, and how we can kind of help them through that.
And do you guys have some special events going on during the month?
We have a lot.
Yeah, well, tell us about those.
Talk about.
So one of the things that we decided to do this month was have a Call of the Art spotlight, and so that was just a great way to spotlight all the children and get them to be able to be creative and tell their story and everything. We also, our color's purple because that's the color that represents all the branches of the military. So we do a purple update. That's actually today. So taking pictures in all your purple gear so you can show your support. And we also this year, Michela mentioned our military teen panel. We really try to get them out and involved in the community and doing things so they can learn valuable life skills. And so one of the things we did this year is we got little purple pinwheels, and we got them to go out in the community just as a way to recognize and show support. And so they actually had to go find 3 businesses and get them set out there. So I think that was a really great way for them to learn some life skills.
Yeah, and so is there an outreach to the business community as well to make them aware of this situation and just the fact that you're using April, or you've proclaimed, and in fact the governor signed a proclamation that this is Month of the Military Child, MOMC, the acronym there. So
We try. There's only 2 of us, and the state's big, and there's lots of schools and lots of kids. And so part of what we do is quality of life skill sets, life skills, resiliency with our kids. So our teen panel, we kind of let them champion that because like Madison said, it teaches them life skills. So a lot of, kids are stuck on their phone or not really having great social skills anymore. And I think that was amplified by the pandemic, obviously, where everything went virtual. And just, you don't realize just even walking up to somebody and introducing yourself, shaking their hand, making eye contact. So they're having to go to these businesses, find the owner or whoever has a say-so, introduce themselves and say, hey, is there a way that you can help us spotlight military kids? And then they actually put the pinwheels out. They make posters and say, thank you for your support of military children. And so we've kind of let them champion their communities because, both of us live in the central Mississippi area, and our youth council is kind of spread out all over. So that helps us get the word out all over the state and not just, us having to do everything. And like I said, teaches them a lot of good lessons.
And so when the military children approach the businesses, I got to believe they react quite positively. The businesses do.
They do. We actually got a phone call. We don't tell them how to do it. I'm not a huge micromanager, even in my home, as long as the end result is what it is.
Sure.
So we just gotta let them be creative and kind of use their best skill set to do that. We got a call from a business and said, a little girl came by and gave me a letter, and it's not really on official letterhead. So is this legit? And, does she want money? We're like, no, she doesn't want any money. She just wants you to say, hey, we support military kids.
Yeah.
So it's been cute how they decide to do it. So.
Well, that's actually very cool. And, I think that sometimes, and we've been talking about that on the program today, I think most people in this country truly do appreciate the military and their sacrifice, and calling attention to the challenges of their children that are part of that sacrifice. I think it's a really good deal. And so I wanted to ask you that question because I just got to believe that a business is pretty fired up and is pretty happy. It's kind of a positive thing when they're approached in that respect.
We hope so, especially when the kids do it themselves. When a child is standing there telling you, I'm a military kid and we'd like your support. We did a teen panel last night on a Zoom with one of our resources, Military One Source, and kind of asked them, what's the biggest challenge you guys are facing right now? And I'll talk a little bit about it, and then I'll let Madison talk. But part of it was, like I said, when you ask a teenager a question, you must be prepared because you don't really know what they're going to say. But the biggest problem they see right now is disrespect of people, like maybe at school when the national anthem is being played or they say the pledge, just them not taking it real serious, and how offensive that is to them because they know the sacrifices that the families have to make and that they're making daily. And it was kind of eye-opening just to say, like, and they recognize it may not be a blatant disrespect, but sometimes ignorance and just not really realizing that their actions, how that affects, military kids.
Well, it's interesting perspective because we, unfortunately, in our country, we become almost accustomed to seeing disrespect for those sorts of American traditions, such as standing and paying respect to the national anthem, to the flag, etc. And I guess we don't think about often the fact that is viewed as negative by those in the military and their children who are carrying that flag, wearing it, and defending this country. And so I'm not sure where the breakdown is, but maybe it's because children tend to act based on what they see from adults. They mimic that, and when they see adults disrespecting, they tend to do the same thing. So I'm not trying to drag you into that rather controversial discussion, but I think it's important to understand that disrespect is viewed as being disrespectful to members of our military and certainly their families and their children who are, like I said, are defending the flag. And you're right, by the way, to disrespect, which is something else we should note. What about in the schools, the teachers, the administrations? Are you engaged with them, and are they aware often? Almost all of them know, we got just a couple of seconds here, that they're military children in their classes, right?
There's a national thing that they're supposed to, but it's self-regulated. So when they fill out paperwork at the beginning of the year, they're supposed to identify, or they can identify as a military kid.
Well, sounds like a great program. I wasn't aware of it, and I'm so glad that we are paying some attention to military children. It's important. So